Hello, I'm Bukola Evergreen, and I'm here again on my channel, Bewaji, the star behind the clouds. Yes, and again I'm reading an excerpt from my great novel, Bewaji, the star behind the clouds, which you can get a copy of it from the link on the screen right now and in the description box. Get your copy and know about this wonderful lady called Bewaji. What happened to her? Who is she? Who is her stepfather? Who is her mother? Who is her grandmother? Oh, there's a lot about this woman. A lot you will learn about. So get your copy now and read along with me. The man driving her glanced at her with a calm yet enigmatic expression. You're a beautiful young girl. You shouldn't be doing all this, he said. There was something peculiar about him. He wasn't young, and it crossed her mind that perhaps Kola had changed drivers. He could certainly afford to, but this man seemed a bit too old for the job. I haven't seen you before, sir. Are you a new driver? Bewaji asked politely. Her curiosity piqued. Not exactly, the man replied with a gentle tone. I just decided to take this job tonight to deliver an important message. Bewaji chuckled, raising an eyebrow. An important message, sir? She asked, her tone laced with skepticism. Yes, he said, with a kind smile, catching glimpses of her through the rear view mirror. The simple message that Jesus loves you and doesn't want you to perish. Her demeanor shifted instantly. Here we go again, she thought bitterly. She had heard this too often, and it always sparked anger within her. Is that why you decided to drive tonight? To tell me that Jesus loves me? She asked, her voice sharp with irritation. Oh yes, he replied. His smile unwavering. Well, I think you've wasted your time. It's not worth it, she shot back, her eyes flashing with anger. Tears welled up as she continued, her voice trembling. Jesus doesn't love me. If he did, my parents and grandparents wouldn't have abandoned me. He wouldn't have allowed my stepfather to abuse me for 7 years and forced me to abort 7 pregnancies. Her voice broke as tears streamed down her face. Baba, don't tell me Jesus loves me, because I just can't believe that. The man's expression grew somber as he studied her through the mirror. Without a word, he reached for some switches on the dashboard. And suddenly there was a sharp clicking sound. Crack, crack. Bewaji glanced around and realized that the doors were locked. Panic began to set in. She tugged at the handle, but the door wouldn't budge. To her horror, the car began to accelerate. Where are you taking me? She demanded, her voice trembling but steady, her eyes fixed on his through the mirror. Don't worry, he replied, his voice now low and grave. Just stay calm. There's something even more important I need to tell you. Bewaji's heart raced, but she forced herself to stay composed. She had always been brave, even in the face of adversity. Her 2 years in prostitution had taught her much about the dangers lurking in the world. She had heard enough horror stories about what men could do. Still, she reminded herself, If I survive 7 abortions, I can survive this. The car eventually came to a stop in a desolate area. Bewaji noticed she couldn't open the door, and an iron barrier separated her from the driver's seat. She was trapped. For the first time, genuine fear began to seep into her thoughts. The tension in the air was palpable as Bewaji stared at the man through the iron barricade. The man's face, etched with deep tribal marks, felt oddly familiar. "Do you know who I am?" he asked, locking eyes with her. She shook her head. There was a resemblance she couldn't quite place, but the pieces didn't fit. "I'm Kola's father," he revealed, pausing to let the weight of his words settle. The realization hit her like a cold wave. She had suspected as much. The resemblance was undeniable now. Kola was a more refined version of this man. "What do you want from me, sir?" she asked softly, her voice tinged with unease. He chuckled briefly, though it didn't reach his eyes. "I don't want anything from you, only to give your life back." Bewaji furrowed her brow in confusion, her discomfort growing. She didn't understand what he meant, and her expression said as much. "Kola is my son," the man began, his voice tinged with sorrow, "and I know everything he does." He turned to face the front, his gaze distant. I've warned him repeatedly to stop. Bewaji's anxiety deepened. The area was isolated and eerily quiet, an easy target for bandits or worse. She kept glancing at the surroundings, half listening to him and half worried about their safety. "What does he do, sir?" she asked. Thank you for listening, and please get your copy of Bewaji, The Star Behind the Clouds, and know and understand what happens to Bewaji in this funny discussion with Kola's father. What was it all about? What eventually happened to her? Get your copy and understand what it's all about. The link is on the screen and in the description box down below. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share with your friends. Catch up with you next time. Till then, please keep on reading.